Hey, you're Amanda Thompson, aren't you? Managing Director of Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I was just wondering if you know anything about the park's next new coaster, like when we're going to be getting it, what's it... Yeah, I know, but us theme park enthusiasts just want a new coaster, like...
Get the damn thing open!
2022 marks 4 years since Blackpool Pleasure Beach's latest roller coaster Icon opened to the public. And with the hype surrounding this now having died down, enthusiasts, including myself, are starting to speculate the park's next big
RMC!
No! But I thought, let's stop daydreaming and let's start sharing my opinions on what I think Blackpool Pleasure Beach may invest in next coaster-wise. To start off, we're going to discuss what manufacturer the park might choose. Based off the recent manufacturers the park have worked with, along with what manufacturers would most likely be able to provide a coaster that would appeal to guests in being unique, I've come up with 3 possible options, those being Mack Rides, Gerslar, and Rocky Mountain Construction, or
RMC.
Oh, for God's sake! Mack Rides manufactured Pleasure Beach's most recent roller coaster, Icon, and the Thompson family that own the park have a brilliant relationship with the Mack family, Mack Rides being a family-owned business. Therefore, Mack is an obvious possibility. Gerslar manufactured Red Arrow's Skyforce, which is a flat ride at the park, and a lot of the roller coasters they've manufactured recently, such as the legendary Smiler at Alton Towers, have proven to be very popular amongst the general public. On the other hand, RMC haven't manufactured any of Pleasure Beach's existing rides. However, they are helping out with the retrack of the Grand National. So if the Grand National's retrack goes well, who knows, they may well consider them for a bigger project. Not to mention they're responsible for manufacturing single rail coasters, in which a train traverses a monorail-like track, and personally I do feel something like this would be very appealing to the general public, as they likely won't have seen a roller coaster with this style of track before.
The world's probably most exciting roller coaster ever built.
Moving on to the coaster type itself, one of the most important things we need to consider is whether Pleasure Beach are going to choose to build a thrill coaster or a family coaster. Personally, I feel they'll choose to build a thrill coaster over a family coaster, as there are more family coasters than thrill coasters in the park, and especially inversion wise, Pleasure Beach really lacks. Therefore, I do feel that the next coaster will be very heavily focused on inversions. However, they may surprise me and go with a family coaster, so we'll look at both options. Starting off with thrill coaster models, where Rocky Mountain Construction are concerned, the obvious choice would be a Raptor model. Now, I know a lot of enthusiasts would love a hybrid, but the problem with that would be it would look old and just like a lot of the other wooden roller coasters surrounding it, I think, and therefore wouldn't be very attractive to the general public. I mean, Blackpool roadmen would probably just be like, yo, that looks rougher than any ride I've had at the gaff, innit? Whereas if the park were to get an RMC Raptor instead, yo, that looks sick, bro. Because it would just be so unique and unlike anything in the area or the UK as a whole. If Gerslar were to build a new thrill coaster for the park, the obvious choice would either be a Eurofighter or an Infinity coaster. Both these coaster types are very versatile and would be able to feature many inversions, as well as potentially the world's or UK's steepest drop on a roller coaster. And that would likely be a good enough reason for the general public to want to ride it. However, I still feel that the most likely manufacturer of the new coaster will be Mack Rides, in which case a Mack Big Dipper like Lost Gravity at Wallaby Holland would be the way to go, because, I mean, everyone likes Big Dippers. Oh god. The Mack Big Dipper model is incredibly versatile and would allow for the ride to feature many inversions and unique elements. If the park was to go with a family coaster instead, then I feel that a Wild Mouse style coaster to replace the old traditional wooden Wild Mouse would do just fine. A coaster type such as a Mack Wild Mouse or Gerslar bobsleigh would do just fine here, and having ridden both these types of coasters, I can say they're good fun and great for families. When considering potential coaster types, it's also important to consider where the new coaster could potentially be located within the park. In my opinion, there are currently 2 realistic locations where Blackpool Pleasure Beach's next coaster may be located. One of those being on the site of the large arcade, formerly known as the Bowlerdrome, where Planet Rock is also located, as well as a car park on the northwest side of the park, and the other being on the former site of the Wild Mouse coaster. Nah fam, nah, you can't be shooting the arcade fam. The site on the northwest of the park is one that's been discussed a bit on Twitter lately, and it would definitely be big enough to fit a major thrill coaster. While the park would need to destroy Planet Rock and the arcade, Planet Rock's pretty much only used as an amphitheatre for part of the park's Journey to Hell Halloween event. Whereas the only thing good about the arcade is that you can play a bit of air hockey. As for the former Wild Mouse site, this isn't big enough to house a big thrill coaster, but it is big enough to house a Wild Mouse style ride in the form of what I mentioned earlier. As much as this site is currently home to the Hub, which is an outdoor live entertainment complex, it's not good, is it?
Get me on a ride!
But the biggest question of all is, when will this new coaster open? The answer, I have no idea, but I doubt it's going to be before 2025. Nah, I can't be waiting that long, I need it now. Over the past couple of years, the park have spent so much money on retrack projects for the Big One, Big Dipper and Grand National, Valhalla's reimagining, and most recently the Enzo experience for Icon. They must be short of funds at the moment. I realise that all this talk about Blackpool Pleasure Beach is probably making you want to book a visit right now. However, there are some very important things you need to consider before doing so, which is why you should go and watch the video on the right side of your screen, in which I discuss ride closures at the park during early 2022. I'll see you all over there, but if you haven't done so already, for more things thrill related in the UK and beyond, be sure to subscribe to ThrillNet and click the bell to enable notifications so you are notified every time I upload.